All right, here we are. We are back. You know, I always say that. I promise you, I'll try to come up with something else. Today, well, you know what? Let's get a few housekeeping items out. The few housekeeping items that I have for you today is please go check out my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is youtube.com/Greg Kimble. That is GregKimble. I am going to put this up on YouTube, so if you want to kind of see what I look like, where I'm podcasting, all this stuff, I've got my new office set up. I'm in the break right now. Now, the break from what? The break from the school that I run. It is KMG Life or KMG Academy. If you'd like to go check out what we are up to, that is kmglife.com. That is K, M as in Mary, G as in George, L-I, F as in Frank, and E as in Echo. I know it is a hard thing to say over the telephone. We always have to do it that way, so hopefully that helps you out. But today I want to talk about leadership. Now, the lesson today is unfortunately something that I just went through. And I've been doing a lot of research lately on going through, okay, how do you properly lead people? How do you properly coach people? How do you get people to move forward and forward with you? Okay, so today, let's talk about that. Leadership. Most leaders have to deal with what? Most leaders have to deal with problems. So when someone comes to you, you have to mitigate something. You have to dissolve an issue. You have to put out the fire. I mean, how many of the leaders out there, I mean, even in your own household, if you have kids or anything, you're always putting out some sort of fire. You're always working on something to try to make someone better, move someone in some direction, persuade someone to do something, this, that, and the other, right? Okay, but primarily leaders have to deal with problems. And when we are dealing with other people's problems, we are consoling them. We are counseling them. We are helping to mitigate their weaknesses. So you are literally focusing on your people's weaknesses. So you are going through life helping them, oh, here's how you get stronger at what you're not already strong at. Now there's nothing wrong with that. I encourage that, but it's not what we should focus on. What I want you to do is focus on getting people into and focusing on their strength zone. So that means we should focus on what? Not counseling. Now, there's nothing wrong with being a good friend and a good leader, but you can't get so emotionally invested in other people's problems that you cannot take care of and deal with your own. So what we should focus on is, now this is the word you should write down, equipping. You should try to equip people to truly focus on their strengths, not their weaknesses. So when they come to you with the problem, when they come to you, oh, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, help them realize their strengths. Help them focus on their strengths. Focus on equipping people. Get people into the mindset. Get people into understanding that they should focus on their strengths. So focus on equipping people. Now, what are some of the best ways to equip people? Some of the best ways that I've found is, of course, motivation and inspiration. Motivation is something that you should do daily. Motivation is something, hey, it's a little bit like the rah-rah speech, right? Rah, let's do this, let's do this. Hey, are you ready to do this? You're lighting a fire. You're literally trying to light a fire under your people's things, but your butts. Should have just said butts. Makes a little bit lighting a fire under people's things. I don't know if I should, in today's political climate, I probably shouldn't say that. So, as a leader, you're running around trying to light fires under people's butts. So what happens when you do that? What should you expect? Well, you should have a bunch of people who start fires. Because you're running around trying to light fires so that they get off their butts and do something. Well, that's what they're going to do. So they're going to run around and start a bunch of fires. So that's the employee level, starting fires. Now, the next level is management. Now, what does management do? They're a fire truck that runs around and puts out fires. But you only have so much water. So now where do the fire trucks go to get the water? To you, the leader, to you who should step up and help these people Fill up their fire trucks so that they can go fight the fires. But teach your managers how and when to fight fires. Don't just run up to someone and say, okay, cool, you're probably going to start a fire, so I'm just going to douse you with water. That's not what you should do. You should run up to them and teach them, the controlled burns that the Forest Service does so often. And if you don't know what that means that if brush gets too thick or if they need to clear a path or this, that, and the other, there are controlled burns that the Forest Service will do. And, sometimes you have to do the controlled burns in your company. You gotta figure out how and who to cut and what to cut. And a common thing in business today is trim the fat, trim the fat, trim the fat. Okay, well, I'm basically telling you to light all your fat on fire, so maybe it's not the best analogy. But what I do want to illustrate to you is focus on equipping your people not to just light fires, because then you run around the rest of your day trying to put out fires, because that's how you're motivating your company. Now, let's go to inspiration. So we just talked about motivation. That's the fire starter. And remember, just to go through those 3 levels again, we've got the people who are the fire starters. Those are employees. We've got the fire trucks. Those are the people who run out, put out the fires. And then the people who fill up the water. That's your leadership. That's where everybody should be getting their water from, their source of information from, and it's the thing. But so water isn't just meant to put out fires. Water is meant to nourish. Water is meant to replenish. Water is something that is at the very essence of our life. So if we're looking at motivation, the fire starter, maybe that's not the best way to do things. Now let's talk about inspiration. What does inspiration mean at a very basic level? Inspiration is a sense of belonging to something that is bigger than you are. So if you walk into a building, now I will tell you, I will be the first person to tell you that when I walk into KMG is not just me. KMG is a collection of efforts to one common goal, and that goal is to change lives through music, to keep people's music going. Now, music is so much more than sounds coming through your speakers that make you feel a certain type of way, make you maybe want to dance. Music is your sense of purpose. It's a passion. It's a magic. It's your soul. It's your calling. It's what's inside of you that the world needs to hear and see and believe and touch and feel. It's faith manifested. Faith in yourself. So you have to take that inspiration and you have to go to the next level and give your people a sense of belonging. If you're a parent at home, give your family a sense of belonging. Hey, you know what? We fight for this household. We take pride in our last name. We take pride in this, that, and the other. If you're at your company, hey, we take pride in the cleanliness. We take pride in how we do things, why we do things, what we do. It's the difference between motivation and inspiration. Now, you need both. Motivation is great. I listen to a ton of tapes constantly. But what we should focus on is instead of, baby-proofing our house and our environment and making sure that nobody can hurt themselves, we should equip people. If you've got someone who is absolutely a rock star at sales, you know what? Maybe don't make them be a bookkeeper. Let them be that tiger that needs to go out and kill something. You know what I mean? Let people operate in their strength zones. Find out what their strength zone is. Find out what your strength zone is. It's so important. You know what? I think my wife, my bookkeeper could probably attest to the fact I am not the best bookkeeper on the planet. Therefore, I shouldn't do it. I shouldn't be in charge of that. I should be in charge of the motivation and the inspiration and the vision. And sometimes, yes, lighting fires. But know what you're getting into. Someday you're going to have to put that fire out. Unless it's very calculated. Now, I hope I'm not too convoluted in this, but the moral of the story is kind of twofold. Okay, let's understand the difference between motivation and inspiration. And let's also understand when you're a leader, focus on equipping, not counseling. I watch so many leaders, every time there's a problem, oh God, I can't have them think this. Well, why not? Maybe they need to think about that. Maybe they need to understand on a different level. Maybe there's a reason why that action happened, and it's time they live with their decision. It's kind of like the baby who falls down so much until he's tired of falling down and he finally just runs. I remember one time I was on a bike and I was learning how to ride my bike, and I was so scared because I'd get on, I'd immediately turn the handlebars and I'd fall over. Until my brother put me on the bike and just pushed me. And I'm pedaling. But then I remembered I had that fear start up. I remembered, oh my God, I can't turn. Because every time I had turned, I fell over. I fell off. Well, I probably should have turned because I kept going so freaking fast. I smashed right into the side of a parked car. Now I concentrated on turning. So the thing is anything in extremes, it's probably not the best thing for you. But you have to start focusing on your strengths. I had to get on the bike and understand what that felt like first before I could start turning, because you have to have your balance before you start turning. You have to have the confidence to maybe even put your foot down. I hope I'm making sense to you. I know I'm kind of all over the place because I'm back into this podcast thing and I want to help people. I really do. This is a commitment that I'm making in 2019 because I get that analysis paralysis a little bit too much. And my idea isn't just super formulated, so I'm going to wait. Well, I got to just get out there. You know what I mean? I can help people with what I've gone through. My mess is turning into my message. All right? So I am going to push this out there for you guys because I truly, and if you have a question, hey, what the heck did you mean? You're going too fast. You're a little too convoluted. Cool. Just shoot me an email. Let me know if I can help you on a better level. But focus on equipping yourself. Stop spending all of your time trying to mitigate all your weaknesses and control your weaknesses. Start finding your strengths and start equipping yourself. Start finding out how you can augment your strength so that you can be better, you can go faster, you can move more, do more. But you have to focus on becoming more. Be before you can do before you can have. Be before you can do before you can have. Focus on being something, not having something. Be someone of worth. Don't focus on having something of worth, because if you have something of worth but you are not worthy, you're going to squander it anyway. You're not going to understand the true value. So focus on becoming something. And becoming is about equipping. Equip yourself in your strength zone so that you can be more, do more, have more. It starts with being more. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. Remember, that is the biggest thing that a human being has over the rest of the animal kingdom, and that's its ability to appreciate. If you've listened to 1 second of this, 1 iota of this, believed in any part of it, I'm telling you right now, I appreciate you more than I can put into words. Thank you so much. This is Greg Kimball with the Final Percent Podcast, and we are going to help you get to the exponential part of life. Thanks again.